Hello, in this quick video we're going to look at some of the features under the Grimsvotn line and Hamarinn volcano. Now if we look from the north, the obvious thing that is visible is of course the lack of earthquakes under the whole Grimsvotn line, where there are three volcanic features, the main caldera and two to the southwest. I forgot the name. Now these are only quakes of magnitude 1 and above. So, but Hamarinn area here is a different story. You can see it has quite a few more deeper quakes. It's a very wide area actually. Now if we look bottom up from the east, we can see a stack of quakes under the third volcanic feature in the Grimsvotn line. It's a very obvious vertical stack and goes from around 3 to 4 kilometers down to around 13-14. These are all the quakes from 2004 till 2017, basically till yesterday I think. And this middle one is not so defined. There are earthquakes in the entire line, but only the third one is an actual vertical stack. It's actually nicely seen. There's something that looks like a stack vertical under the second one. It's hard to say, but you can see there are quakes in the entire line from Grimsvotn towards southwest. So basically it's fissure swirl. It's a nice line, very obvious line actually. And if it's true that Grimsvotn has an open feeder system, that would explain the lack of deeper quakes in the entire line actually. These all three volcanoes might not even have very deep quakes at all. So. Now the interesting thing about a Grimsvotn caldera is if you look at it from the bottom, you see quite a lot of quakes are centered toward southeast. So when the magma chamber starts inflating, it's probably where it's being pushed mostly. There's not a lot towards the north, but there's mostly down to the south and southeast. So that's probably where the magma body, chamber, or the magmatic system is expanding. If you look from more angles, we can actually see there's this void in here, almost to the surface down to 5 kilometers. So that's probably where the magma body is. It looks to be fairly large actually. It does seem to be expanding towards southeast with time, which is interesting. Now another interesting thing is of course the Hamarinn volcano. We do see it has quite a few of deeper quakes. Now if you look from the north, we can see that the more you go east from Grimsvotn, the deeper the quakes get. So it's probably an open system under Grimsvotn and the surrounding area. Now if we look specifically at Hamarinn area, I have to say that these are just some basic outlines. This is not the actual location of any volcano, at least not to my knowledge. I just drew a simple outline. So if you look below it, it is actually very interesting. You see a long line of earthquakes, the northern part, the alleged or probable volcano. I mean, there is one, of course. We can see very obvious stacking in multiple locations. Looking bottom up, you see there's this void, a void of no earthquakes basically. There are quakes on the north side, in the southwest, but there are almost none to the southeast and the central area. But there are deep quakes around it. So this one is kind of a mystery. It's like there's a large magma body actually sitting here. The earthquake surrounding it. Very interesting. Okay, now we are looking again at the whole area. And what I'm going to do now is I'm only going to show earthquakes of magnitude 2 and above. So let's see how that looks like. Okay, so this is only M2 plus earthquakes. And again we see these quakes towards southeast of Grimsvotn. It's probably the magma body expanding and pushing out in this void under the caldera. Now the Hamarinn area is also interesting. It keeps a lot of quakes very deep actually. I forgot to edit the text data. This should say M2 plus, but I explain it so. You see some M2 plus quakes in this stack under the third volcanic feature, the Grimsvotn line. This Hamarinn is a mystery in itself actually. So what we are going to look now is the same area, but I'm only going to show earthquakes of magnitude 3 and above. So basically what would count as a star, the med office plots that we usually look at. Let's see how that looks. So these are only M3 plus earthquakes. And again we see the south-southeast Grimsvotn. And of course the Hamarinn area, the north part. Now there are also M4 plus quakes, actually 2. They were under the northern side of Hamarinn. However that is pronounced, I don't know. And the depth looks to be around 10 kilometers for one, and one around 1 to 2 kilometers. So this is a pretty energetic volcano, no matter how you look at it. Now if we look from the east again, to finish this off, you can see a large vertical stack, the northern part of Hamarinn, going very deep. There are some very deep quakes, below 25 kilometers, but the majority kind of starts around 20 to 18. That's when it really picks up. And of course, you see the large Grimsvotn bowl of earthquakes, since there's a void in the middle, pushing towards south-southeast. And we see the vertical stack of the third volcanic feature, the Grimsvotn line. And the second one with a bit less earthquakes, but there are some deeper down. Just a quick view again before we finish this off. See the Grimsvotn fissure swarm in the line going towards southwest. This is a bottom up view. It's a pretty obvious wall of earthquakes there, and a lack of deeper quakes under it, suggesting an open system. And of course the Hamarinn area with much more deeper quakes, but again lacking the very deep ones, so it must be a similar system, open at the very depths. And this is about it. It's open for discussion and interpretation to each individual. I'm just an amateur, so yeah.